Oh, sorry. I didn't realize the bagpipes are the ears. I like them. That's me though. But good morning. Okay, that can stop now. Oh, but good late morning. How's everyone on this blessed long day? I am sorry, darling. But how's everybody on this blessed day? Yes, I know. It's been almost a week since I've been live. I am sorry, dear. I am. I will. Boop, boop. What else? Are you all donezo? Are you donezo, Sunzo? All right, you're everything all updated. Da 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 da. Okay. Well, whatever you're updating, update. I don't know what the fuck just happened. All right. But yeah. So what's everybody up to? Why, hi. I'm Andrew. Fuck off my screen, dude. Sorry, I got 100 things popping up. I just reloaded my PC, so I had to shut it down and restart. Listening? Well, what the hell? Did I say you could just listen? No. Really? I'm dead. You're horrid. Backside messages. Where have I been? Living life. I've been winterizing the house. Had to take out some ACs, dust off the heaters, fun stuff. Spending time with the old lady and the kids. What one? Well, after sitting. Oh, what's up all day? Yeah, but which hurricane we talking here? What's up, Act Right? Well, that's all we're getting. Ah, that's the one that's tracking now. Yeah, but it's supposed to drop to a 2 before it even hits Florida. Jesus. Milton's supposed to drop to a 2 before it even hits landfall. Wise old lady. Yeah, Miami, West Keys, Palm. Yeah, Fort Myers. But what I'm saying is, from what I'm reading here, it's supposed to drop to a category 2, which isn't that bad, all things considered. Jesus. But yeah. What I gotta say, it isn't that bad. It's dropping to a 2 and it's taking its sweet time getting to where it's gotta go. So, it isn't that bad. Is she near? But no, I'm not trying to downplay it or nothing, but from what I'm reading, it's not supposed to be as bad as Helen, so. You sent me a site, did you? Alright, give me a minute.
As well as the palm trees and the waves. You can really just see that visual of the winds picking up. Hurricane Milton, currently a Category 4 storm, expected to make landfall as a Category 3 storm, but again, that is still winds of a minimum of 111 miles an hour. As counties, as communities continue to prepare, they're giving these updates every so often. So I did want to share with you the very latest out of Lake County, Florida, as they provided a brief update just moments ago. Let's listen in.
Good morning. I'm Kirby Smith, Lake County Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, and I'm honored to be here today to speak to you about some of the things that we have in place. My staff and I are monitoring the storm and coordinating with our departments on the safety and preparedness actions. I am grateful to be joined today by our Lake County Sheriff Peyton Grinnell, Congressman Daniel Webster, Lake County School Board Superintendent Diane Cornegie, Animal Service Director Whitney Boylston, and Emergency Management Director Megan Milanese. As we know, Hurricane Milton is a substantial threat to our area. Milton brings a threat of dangerous winds and excessive rain. We expect to start seeing conditions worsen tomorrow evening. The river and flood warnings have already been in place for Geneva up to Astor. If you're in an area that historically floods or experiences dangerous conditions during the storm, I'm asking you now, please utilize our shelters. Ask friends and family. Take care of yourself, the elderly, and your pets. Safety of our friends and neighbors is paramount. This is not a storm to take lightly, whether you've been through a dozen storms or this is your first. My best advice to you is to prepare now. Set aside supplies for yourself, your elderly family members, and your pets. At this time, I would like to introduce Congressman Webster to speak to our community. Congressman Webster.
Thank you so much. Good to be here today. I just came to encourage everybody. Lake County is always prepared. They're prepared again this time, and it's just a fantastic thing to see that we're going to have a great opportunity to seek shelter if you need it. But what I would say, do what the authorities say do, no matter what it is. If they say leave, then leave. If they say stay, then stay. No matter what it is, get ready. And this is a tough, big storm. But I think Lake County is very well prepared. And for that, I'm thankful. I'm thankful I live in Lake County. Thankful we've got commissioners and a sheriff and fire chiefs and others, that first responders that do us a good, great service for being here, being ready, being open, and responding to every detail there is to do so that we'll all be safe and secure. And a day from now, we're going to be all happy. Glad to see it leave, and glad to see it say goodbye to a storm that we don't want to see come, but it is. And because of that, we're ready to be to respond to any problems there are. Thanks for letting me come today, and good to see you. May God bless this county, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, sir. As an update, the Emergency Operations Center is currently at a level 1 full activation, and we'll begin conducting 24-hour operations today. At this time, we are expecting sustained, strong tropical storm force winds to impact our community with possible hurricane strength gusts. We are currently under a hurricane warning, and we will be for at least the next 36 hours. We do have 15 shelter locations that will be opening in Lake County today at noon, including 9 pet-friendly shelters and 5 special needs shelters. I am going to read those shelter names now. Elementary, Lost Lake Elementary, Astatula Elementary, Umatilla Elementary, and The Villages Elementary. As stated before, the shelters will begin accepting residents today at 12 p.m. Residents who need help getting to a shelter should call the Citizens Information Line to schedule their travel. Lake Express, Lake County's fixed route bus system, will be providing free rides on Wednesday as well to travelers who state they need to be taken to a shelter. Free rides will continue to be given until conditions become unsafe. Riders must tell the driver they are going to a shelter to get the free ride. Sandbag operations will also continue at all locations through weather conditions declining. And all updates, including shelter and sandbag locations, are available on the Lake County website at www.lakecountyfl.gov/storm. Additionally, starting today, the Citizens Information Line will be open for calls from residents 24 hours a day, and that number is 352-253-9999. Again, it's 352-253-9999, and that's where you can speak to someone who can give you answers about the storm and what to expect. As we are entering the impact phase of our response, residents should be finalizing their plans for this storm. To help residents dispose of yard debris and household garbage before the storm, Lake County is opening 4 solid waste facilities outside of regular hours today only. The sites with extended hours are the Astor facility, Lady Lake facility, Central facility, and the Log House facility. Residents who are looking to drop off yard debris can do so for free until facilities close due to the storm. As always, Lake County residents can also bring household waste to our facilities at no cost. There's a list of facilities and their service hours on our website. We know the storm has many people worried. I just can't stress enough how important it is that we prepare with purpose instead of panicking at this point. It's important to stay calm, take a breath, enact your plan, and know that we have resources at the ready to assist if needed. At this time, I will now turn it over to Superintendent Diane Cornegy.
Good morning. The staff of Lake County Schools has been working closely with Lake County Emergency Management to monitor the storm and prepare for its arrival. While teaching and learning is certainly the core of our work, safety is our top priority. Our decisions about school operations have been made with student and employee safety in mind, as well as that of our community. Schools are closed today, Tuesday. We are one of several districts designated to host evacuees in our schools that will be used as shelters. So we close schools today to prepare for those guests who will be arriving, as Megan said, around noon. Schools are also closed Wednesday and Thursday. For all 3 days, after-school activities have been canceled and ELC is closed. Friday was already a pre-scheduled student day off and a planning day for our teachers. Students will not report to school on Friday, and teachers will now have a virtual planning day if they choose to do so. We will use Friday as a time to assess any damages and begin restoration efforts if needed. ELC will also be closed on Friday. We have several football games scheduled for Friday, but whether or not we will continue as scheduled depends on the state of the fields after the storm. So stay tuned. Schools will be announcing that information on Friday. I want to encourage all of our families, our students, and our employees to take necessary precautions and stay safe. And we look forward to welcoming everybody back, hopefully on Monday when we plan to resume full operations. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Your Lake County Sheriff's Office stands ready to assist our citizens through this storm. When it comes to our citizens here in Lake County, they're second to none, supporting public safety and cooperating with us. That's what we need through this period of time. We're all hands on deck, ready to go. We have our disaster response teams that are strategically staged across our county. We are asking our residents by midday tomorrow to please have everything that you need done to be off of the roadways. Post-storm, same thing. If you can stay off the roadways, please allow us time to get out there. We have inmate work crews that are going to be assisting with Public Works to cut and toss any debris. Obviously, we start with the major roadways and work our way in. But it will help us tremendously if the roadways are clear until we have a chance to do that.
We are listening in to Lake County officials giving their Hurricane Milton briefing. However, I did want to pivot. The White House just releasing some statements made by President Biden. He has now canceled a trip to Europe as the White House and FEMA continue to monitor Hurricane Milton. So I did want to play back those remarks he made just moments ago. Let's listen in.
As you know, I put out a statement this morning. I'm canceling my trip to Germany and Africa. We're going to try to work those out later, but I just don't think I can be out of the country at this time. Number one. Number two, we're going to stay focused on what's ahead of us right now. I've been briefed by senior leaders of this administration and who are driving up preparedness for Hurricane Milton, which could be one of the worst storms in 100 years to hit Florida, and continued efforts on Hurricane Helene. I've directed this team to do everything it can to save lives in our communities, help our communities before, during, and after these extreme weather events, and that's being done. That's being done. I've spoken to all the political leaders in the region, some of them more than once, and I've told them anything they ask for they can get. We've given, and we've got an overwhelming response, positive response from everyone from the governors of Florida up to North Carolina. And mayors, leaders, local, have expressed their sincere gratitude for the work of FEMA and for the work of my entire administration. Now, I've also surged thousands of federal personnel on the ground across the Southeast already and deliver every available resource as fast as possible. And my priority is to increase the size and presence of our effort. And as we prepare for another catastrophic storm about to make landfall, you know, I've been in constant contact with our director of the National Weather Service, Ken Graham, who's kept me informed the last several days what to anticipate. You never know until it happens, but they're very, very engaged. He made clear to me just how dangerous this storm is, indicating that winds had reached up to 180 miles an hour. 180, that's not guaranteed it's going to hit the shore at 180 miles, but they've reached up to 180 miles an hour. And a possible storm surge as it hits the coast of Florida of 15 feet, which can be devastating. The current path of the storm is expected to Tampa Bay area and cut directly across the state, east to west, all the way across the state, with the potential for this storm to both enter Florida as a hurricane and leave Florida as a hurricane on the Atlantic coast. This could be the worst storm to hit Florida in over a century. And God willing, it won't be, but that's what it's looking like right now. Immediately approved the pre-landfall emergency declarations in Florida. This is the second one in a week, the second time in a week, and there have been 2 before that, by the way. I sent FEMA Administrator Criswell down to Florida yesterday to work intensively with the state and local partners as we prepare to deploy more resources. She's going to continue that work between Florida and North Carolina in the coming days. I'm calling on the airlines and other companies to provide much service as possible to accommodate evacuations and not to engage in price gouging, to just do it on the level. And last night I spoke again with the governor of Florida, DeSantis, and Tampa Mayor Castro, Castor, and I made it clear to them they should reach out, including to me directly, with everything else they may need as they see this storm hits. I gave them my personal number to contact me here in the White House. Most importantly, I've urged everyone currently located in Hurricane Milton's path to listen to local officials and follow safety instructions. You all have been reporting on the highways, shoulders being opened, everybody's heading out. And if you're under evacuation orders, you should evacuate now. You should have already evacuated. It's a matter of life and death, and that's not hyperbole. It's a matter of life and death. So let me add that FEMA has provided 300 ambulances to move people who can't move themselves out of healthcare facilities. And while we prepare for Hurricane Milton, we're still surging resources in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee to respond to Hurricane Helene. And it's real. The impact is still there. And we're going to leave, we're not going to leave until the job is done. It's going to take time, and before it's all over, it's going to take tens of billions of dollars to get it done. And Kamala and I are keeping all of you in our prayers out there. There's a lot of people. The good news is, just before we called you in, I received information that the number of missing persons has been significantly reduced, lost from the first hurricane. But we'll have more information on that later. So that's the situation, and we're not going to leave till the job is finished. It's going to take a while.
Sir, what's the risk of political figures sharing misinformation during this time?
The past's prologue is real, but the fact of the matter is, I think we have, I've been able to contact all the governors. They are sticking up for what they've asked for. They're pointing out that they're satisfied with everything they're getting. But I can't speak for others on the internet. And I mean, just, look, those who do it to try to damage the administration. Well, we can take care of ourselves. But it misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they panic, where they really, really, really worry. They think now they're not being taken care of. And it really is, it's going to sound, I use an old phrase, it's un-American. It really is. People are scared to death. People know their lives are at stake. All that they've worked for, all that they own, all that they value. And it's just, anyway.
Mr. President, can you give us a sense of how Vice President...
Thank you, guys.
Can you give us a sense of Vice President Harris's role in this?
Wait. I'll have plenty of time to talk about Angola. I still plan on going to Africa. I'll have plenty of time to talk about what's going on in Latin America and South America in terms of the Amazon. And I'm going to be talking today with my friend, the Chancellor of Germany, and we're going to try to work that out. We've already contacted all these people, okay? But I'm going to be on the phone today. I'm heading shortly when I get up from here. I'm heading out to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee. But I think we can, I'm still planning on visiting all the places I said I'd be and all the conferences I said I'd participate in.
Mr. President, as far as everything that you like to do.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call. So I don't know. There was a rough start in some places, but every governor from Florida to North Carolina has been fully cooperative and supportive and acknowledged what this team is doing. And they're doing an incredible job. But we got a lot more to do. So
Thank you for your time. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, press. Let's go. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Over. Thank you, guys. Thank you, press. Thank you, folks. Thank you, press. Thank you, Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that was President Biden answering and delivering remarks about preparations for Hurricane Milton. The White House sharing his remarks that came just moments ago, saying that he did speak with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and that Florida does have all the assistance and support needed as they continue to clean up and recover after Hurricane Helene and prepare for Hurricane Milton. Meanwhile, I also wanted to share this with you. This is a statement that the FEMA administrator gave as she visited Pinellas County ahead of Hurricane Milton. Quote, "Now we are facing what could be the biggest storm to hit this side of Florida and directly into Tampa. I need people to move out of harm's way. I have plenty of funding to support the ongoing efforts for Hurricane Helene and the preparatory efforts and the initial response efforts for Hurricane Milton. Nobody needs to worry about us not having enough money to support that. And no money has been given to any other department or agency from this fund. It is purely dedicated to support the life-saving needs that we need to do. And that's what we're going to do as we go through this." And so you can see that FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell responding to rumors of misinformation that FEMA has been reallocating some of its funds for immigration. She denounced that in that statement, saying that all of the funding goes to those life-saving needs. And she was specifically speaking about Pinellas County right there as she visited that area ahead of Milton, coming up at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So in just about 45 minutes or so, I am going to be speaking with the Public Information Officer with Pinellas County as this county is anticipating getting the brunt of the storm. We are going to step away for a 2-minute break here on Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinnew. We'll be right back.
Holy wow, that's a lot to take in. Whoever's down there needs to really just take shelter. This is crazy. Just crazy. Oh yeah. They're taking a break, so I turned them down. But hi everyone. We are currently covering the Milton storm. And hello to those I did not say hi to already.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinnew. We were hearing from President Biden as he was delivering remarks on Hurricane Milton from the White House. This is a live look of Air Force One as it is departing, as President Biden will make his way to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where he's going to talk about his administration's progress when it comes to combating lead in pipes. So that is a live look right there of Air Force One. As you can see, it's taxiing there they're on the runway, ready to take off, heading to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. President Biden canceling his trips to Germany and Angola ahead of Hurricane Milton. During his remarks, he was mentioning that he did, in fact, speak with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, talking about being able to provide all of the assistance and support, not only as Florida continues to recover from Hurricane Helene, but also as Florida anticipates the landfall of Hurricane Milton early Thursday. And if you're just joining us at this hour right here on Live Now from Fox, I wanted to share the very latest as you're taking a live look at our XRAD system of Hurricane Milton. Yesterday, it was a Category 5 storm. Now it has decreased slightly in strength to a Category 4 storm, still a major hurricane as it makes way towards the west coast of Florida. Right now, the current track has it making landfall somewhere along the west coast of Florida early Thursday morning, then tracking across central Florida before making its way to the Atlantic Ocean, possibly still as a hurricane. Now, forecasters say Hurricane Milton has the potential to become one of the most destructive hurricanes on record for west central Florida. And we have been seeing millions of residents already evacuating ahead of the life-threatening impacts. We were sharing with you yesterday these live looks of I-75 as it really was standstill traffic as folks were paying heed to those mandatory and voluntary evacuation. So this is a look at our XRAD system. Meantime, I also wanted to share this with you. This is really interesting. This is a social media post as they flew over Hurricane Milton, and this is the view from space. Take a look at this on the left-hand side of your screen. That is a look of Hurricane Milton from space. You can just see the pinhole right there and the winds and the clouds surrounding it. The social media post says, here is the view out the Dragon Endeavour window. Expect lots of images from this window as this is where I'm sleeping while we wait to undock and return to Earth. And also Matthew Dominic saying that he's going to be posting a time lapse in a separate post. So as soon as we see that, we will bring that to you. But just giving you some different perspectives from the ground, from satellite, and now from space, as everyone continues to track Hurricane Milton. We're going to step away for our final 2-minute break of the hour. After that, we're going to head live to St. Petersburg, Florida, as they're providing a briefing ahead of landfall of Hurricane Milton. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinn. We continue to track the very latest with Hurricane Milton, and I wanted to share this live look with you. This is a live look of St. Petersburg, Florida, as this is one of those areas along the west coast of Florida that is anticipating the brunt of Hurricane Milton, as the hurricane is expected to make landfall early Thursday morning. Now, happening right now, St. Petersburg officials are giving a briefing, and I do want to play that in its entirety. So let's listen in.
There is a risk related to some of the construction cranes that are operating in our city. Due to tower crane height and design, there are 4 construction sites in the downtown St. Petersburg area and Gateway that are susceptible to the anticipated high winds forecast for the approaching hurricane. This means residents near those 4 construction sites are at risk for those cranes malfunctioning during the storm. The 4 construction sites within the city are at 400 Central Avenue, 275 First Avenue North, 1000 First Avenue, and 101 Main Street. Now, due to the specialized nature of crane operations, lowering or securing a tower crane is scheduled weeks in advance and is not a feasible solution within the time frame of the approaching storm due to the rapid intensification and the forecasted path. Now, while these cranes will be weather vaned, which is the safest way for them to operate during a storm, we want residents in the surrounding areas to be aware of this potential hazard. We are recommending that residents in this area either relocate or move into an inner room without windows as the storm is passing. This includes a stairwell or inner room in the building. The city is working to notify residents in the surrounding areas, and we are distributing informational materials to inform the residents of the potential hazard. Every resident in those areas should take the necessary precautions to prepare for the storm. We want to make sure you have all the information you need to make smart decisions as Milton approaches our state. As we start to feel the impacts from Milton in the coming hours, the city is closely monitoring the storm and will take all necessary precautions to prepare our city. Please take this storm seriously. Your safety is the greatest priority during this storm. I'll now turn it over to Yolanda for Spanish translation, and she'll be followed by our city emergency manager, Amber Bolding. Yolanda.
Thank you, Mayor. El huracán Milton continúa intensificándose rápidamente y está en camino de tocar tierra en la costa de la Florida. Esperamos vientos de más de 160 millas por hora, vientos que no recibimos durante el huracán Helene.
So we are listening now as the mayor of St. Petersburg was giving some updates about the city's preparations, talking about some of the cranes right there that he is concerned could malfunction. Happening right now, you can see that Yolanda Fernandez is providing the translation into Spanish as they are disseminating really life-saving information. As she does that, though, I wanted to share some live views with you, as we do expect there to be more English updates as well. But take a look at this. This is a live look right here of the Bahamas. And we have been seeing conditions in Nassau, Bahamas, which is where this live camera is located, really to start deteriorating. Now, earlier, we actually saw some raindrops on the camera lens itself. It does seem to have cleared up just momentarily, but the wind is also continuing, and you can see that with the palm fronds shaking back and forth. But also take a look at the waves, as storm surge is going to be a big issue when it comes to Hurricane Milton, and you can see that visual right there as we continue to track the very latest of the storms. So we're continuing to follow the very latest developments ourselves as we are listening in to St. Petersburg officials right now. The Spanish translation is happening, but we are expecting that to shift, and I do see that happening. So we're going to head back as we do see a new speaker there. All of this happening right now out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Let's listen in.
Order that's been given and gotten themselves and their family to safety. For those of you who have not left yet and you're in an evacuation zone, you still have time. However, that window is closing. Please make your final preparations at your home and make your way to a shelter by tomorrow morning. Visit disaster.pinellas.gov for the latest open shelter locations, or you can call the County Information Center at 727-464-4333. Hurricane Milton will make landfall as a major hurricane somewhere near the Tampa Bay area. I want to caution everybody to focus too close on these small shifts that we see. Tampa Bay remains in the cone and very close to that projected center line. So on its projected path, Tampa Bay, St. Pete could see the northern eye wall of that storm, and any type of wobble could bring the storm right back over our city, just north of our city, which is that worst case scenario, or it could take it a little further south. We just don't know, and we have to prepare for that scenario of what the National Hurricane Center is telling us, is that of that 10 to 15 feet of storm surge and winds up to 100 miles per hour. I just want to remind everybody, once we get through this storm, with these high winds and this flood, we're going to see impacts like we've never seen before here in Tampa Bay. And I want to caution everybody, to be safe once we get through the storm. We don't want to go out. We don't want to sightsee. We're going to have hazards out there that we're just not used to. So we want you to shelter in place, stay at your shelter if you evacuated, and wait for official word from the city and from the county to let you know when it's all clear to get out. Our first responders will push out as soon as they can to help those residents in need. But part of that first push is also clearing the roadways so that we can get folks to the hospital and to emergency care if they need it. So the less residents that we can have out on the road, the better. And we'll continue to update that safety message as we get closer to landfall and we get to that recovery piece. I just want to end to say, please stay safe. Please take care of one another. Check on your neighbors, and we'll stay in touch with you throughout the process.
Thank you, Amber. We are really blessed to have a great congressional representative in Kathy Castor, who is always engaged in our community, even before a storm like this, but especially during this hurricane, engaging the federal government, making sure we get all the support we need. So just want to thank you for being here, Representative. I'd like to hear from you.
Thank you, Mayor Welch, and thanks to everyone here at the St. Petersburg Emergency Operations Team, to the St. Pete Police Department and Fire Rescue. I want to assure everyone, all of our neighbors across the city of St. Petersburg, that your federal partners are fully engaged in the preparation for Hurricane Milton. That includes FEMA. That includes the United States Coast Guard. That includes the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service. It was very important that the FEMA Administrator, Deanne Criswell, was here in St. Petersburg yesterday meeting with Mayor Welch and his team. She is assuring everyone that FEMA has the resources necessary to respond to this disaster. This is the largest mobilization of FEMA personnel in recent history, and they have pre-positioned supplies that are needed in the recovery phase and response phase as well. That includes meals, water, tarps. They have search and rescue teams poised to go out into the bay, into the waters, to make sure that they are able to respond to any life-threatening situations. We're also fortunate here in St. Petersburg to have a very active Coast Guard presence. And the personnel from Sector St. Pete and the Clearwater Air Station are poised for their search and rescue and their post-Hurricane Milton response activities. They are fully devoted to this community and keeping everyone safe and well. The National Hurricane Center has been issuing its updates, and I think it's very important that you listen to their terminology, because this terminology is unlike anything that we have heard in past decades. I don't remember any time, there's not been any time when a community was socked with a double whammy like we are about to experience. To have a devastating storm surge from Hurricane Helene, followed by the triple threat that Hurricane Milton poses to us. The National Hurricane Center is talking about that. Hurricane Helene was a devastating surge with little rain and not a lot of high winds. But this is the triple threat that we have feared for decades and decades, because it involves storm surge, it involves flash flooding, and it involves high winds. The National Hurricane Center emphasizes that Milton is expected to grow as it approaches the west coast of Florida. It will approach as an extremely dangerous hurricane with a large destructive storm surge that they call life-threatening. So follow all of the local authorities. Listen to what the City of St. Petersburg and Mayor Welch are advising about getting out of your evacuation zones. The National Hurricane Center is advising that these will be devastating hurricane force winds. They advise to protect life and property now. You have a rapidly closing window to secure your life and your valuables. They are predicting heavy rainfall, flash urban flooding that will all combine to increase the overall threat. And Mayor, I have to say I'm a little bit concerned, because I've heard from some people this morning that they think it will be okay if they're on a second story of a building. They think, well, after the storm surge of Helene, if you were in an evacuation zone, but you were able to get up on the second and third story, you're going to be safe. I think that that is a colossal, life-threatening error. Do not put your life at risk, because the National Hurricane Center also advises that after this catastrophe, large portions of the Tampa Bay area are going to be uninhabitable. You're not going to have power. You may not have other essentials. The time is now for you to evacuate. Take this storm seriously and listen to Mayor Welch and the St. Petersburg Emergency Response Team. Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership and partnership, Congresswoman. Okay, we'll now take any questions.
Mayor, the cranes from these construction sites, these four mentioned, is that something that could have been addressed days ago or taken care of, taking those cranes down?
I don't believe so, and I'll ask my city development administrator or Don Tyra, our building official, speak to it. But let me just say there are things that we're learning because of the strength of this storm. This was a tropical storm that turned into one of the most powerful storms in the history of our nation very rapidly. So we're learning things that we're going to use to update our procedures and processes going forward. But there's just no way in this window of time to bring those cranes down. We've never had a storm this powerful with winds this strong that would have required that. And so there are things that we're learning, just like our sewer systems, that we're going to have to incorporate in our planning going forward. Don, can you come give us some specifics on that?
Good afternoon. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. The cranes at these construction sites, that could be a risk to the buildings around them. Is that something that could have been taken down days in advance? How long does it take to take these cranes down?
Yeah, so portable cranes for typical construction sites, that actually is a standard practice to either take the boom arm down and place it on the ground or remove the crane in general. For the high-rise construction, the tower cranes, they're basically fixed in place and they're erected. The crane basically builds itself as it goes vertical. Some of these cranes in the downtown area are 500 to 600 feet tall. And it usually takes about a week to plan any kind of crane jump or disassembly type process. And it's a specialized crew that performs that work. So with a storm approach, it wasn't even a hurricane, a week ago. So it's very hard to plan for that in advance.
And what's your name and title?
My name's Don Tyra. I'm the city building official.
What are the winds need to be like for it to pose a danger like that?
Well, there's 4 construction sites with tower cranes on them. Each crane's a little different with their design wind speed for the structural integrity of it. 3 of the cranes are rated for 145 mile an hour winds. One construction site, they have 3 tower cranes and they're rated for 110 mile an hour winds. And, we have to be careful about that's, every storm when it approaches the hurricane, we talk about the sustained wind. There are gust cycles in those storms, and the 3-second gust speed is really what could be a contributing factor. Remember, those winds only are very close to the eye wall, so we're looking at the cranes being a potential hazard if we basically get a direct eye impact in St. Pete.
Just to clarify, that's the speed it needs to be sustained and not gust?
No, it could be a gust wind speed. Yeah, they're designed for that. I mean, there's safety factors in the structural design of those cranes, but our advisory is basically if we anticipate wind speeds above 100, even though the safety factor is 110 to 145 for those cranes, it could be a potential hazard because of the gust wind speed.
Well, we had an 82 mile an hour gust in Helene, which is hundreds of miles away. I guess my question is it a good idea to have these cranes up during hurricane season in general?
Well, I mean, that is a factor, and typically the cranes are safe in weather vane mode up to about 100 miles an hour. So it really takes a direct impact from a storm that would possibly create this potential hazard.
Last question, I promise. Is that crane down because they haven't started vertical construction yet?
No, they dropped that crane, yeah,
So
as a safety.
prepare, but others didn't?
Well, again, that's a mobile crane, so they can do that. The tower crane, I'm just going to use one of the downtown project sites. It's 600 feet in the air. Okay, it's a tower crane that has a tower similar to monopole tower for a cell tower site, and it has a T-crane portion of the jib arm that's attached to it, and it's attached to the building with tiebacks, and that's how they erect a high-rise, building.
Is that 400 Central you're speaking to?
Yes. 400 Central, yes. 400 Central is a concern because it's the tallest cranes. They have one at 500 feet, one at 600 feet.
So, I apologize, I'm really bad on this one. If one of those fall, what's that process like? Like, it seems like it would be quite the ordeal.
It's variable. I mean, we plan for the worst case scenario, and that's why we're advising people to, shelter in place, go to an interior room. If you're living in an adjacent high-rise or mid-rise building, those are typically like the stairwell or the elevator core of the building. It would sustain any kind of impact, like that. And it's really just trying to be safe. Now, they don't have to, shelter in place there for the entire duration as the storm approaches. It could take a turn to the south, turn to the north, and we may not get those hurricane, winds. So, monitor the storm and then take appropriate action as needed.
Did the city communicate like a week ago when we were seeing this happening, like, hey, you might want to take down your cranes or people are acting?
We talked to the developers. It just wasn't practical to have any kind of work done to lower the cranes. And we sent out a notice to all developers. We do that on every storm. We visit all the construction sites, have them secure all the debris, try to make preparations best they can for the storm event, and we ask them to deal with the cranes. The mobile cranes are easy to deal with. It's the tower cranes that are the issue.
And how many tower cranes are there? 400 Central?
400 Central has 3 tower cranes. 3 tower cranes. One is... Yes, yeah. One is for the parking garage. It's much shorter, maybe 100, 150 feet. And then there's 3 other sites, one in the downtown area, one in Carillon, one on in the 1000 block of First Avenue North.
Lynn, could you speak to the possible shutdown of the sewer treatment facilities and what residents in those affected areas, what they need to know, what they should go through if that does happen?
Mayor.
Claude Tankersley, our Public Works Administrator.
Thank you for that question. So this, as we've said, is an unprecedented storm with unprecedented storm surge and wind and rain. Our hope and our desire is to save lives and keep people safe. So we have asked, everybody to evacuate that needs to evacuate. So therefore, they shouldn't be here. We do anticipate once the storm has left that we'll be able to get back on site to the 2 plants within 24 hours. And start back up the plants. So, and we have state resources and federal resources helping us out. We also have contractors helping us out. We've staged up so that we can get back on those plants immediately and get the water flowing as quickly as possible.
When could that happen, and then what do residents need to know if they did, if they are possibly still there and have to flush their toilet, what could happen?
Sure.
What they need to answer that will be turned off?
So we're expecting a 15-foot storm surge. So because of that, we are expecting to have to turn off 2 of our plants, the northeast and the southwest. After the storm, it's likely that we may not also have water service. If we do have water service, we do ask people, don't wash your clothes, don't wash your dishes, don't take unnecessary use of water. You can flush a toilet, but because we have capacity in the collection system before it gets to the plants. But we ask people who have stayed, we ask them to please limit their water uses. But again, we hope that most people have not stayed.
Claude, isn't Gibbs High School, the shelter at Gibbs High School, serviced by the Southwest?
Yes, it is.
So is it possible that the shelter might be without toilets?
No, the shelter will be with toilets. Like I said, we can flush toilets sparingly, and we have a plan to be able to come in, and if we need to, with tanker trucks, pull sewage out of the area where Gibbs High School is to keep it flowing.
Okay. It was mentioned yesterday, I believe, by Rob Burtis that some areas might not have potable water. Is that affected? Is that the case? Like potable water might not.
So one of the things that affects potable water is tree fall. We're expecting a very, very high wind event for this hurricane, and so therefore we do expect a lot of trees to fall. When they fall, their roots pull up the water mains. So yes, we do anticipate to have water main breaks.
And that would be citywide or wherever?
It'd be countywide.
Okay, and you'd have to boil water in that event, or you just wouldn't have water at all?
You may not have water at all, and then when we restore water, you may have to boil it for a while before you drink it. You can use the water for the other purposes, but if you're drinking it, you would have to boil it.
And that would be communicated?
Yes, that would be communicated.
If water is turned
So we should all be preparing for every storm season with our go bag, right? And our go case should include potable water, bottled water. And so people should have water with them in case something like this happens.
Can I ask about what's going on at Tropicana Field? Who's being staged there? How are those crews being serviced? How long do they expect to stay there? And is the Trop, it rains inside on a normal day. Is that going to hold up?
Do we have anybody that can speak to the Trop, Rob?
So we're continuing to listen to St. Petersburg officials as they're giving an update on Hurricane Milton. What we're going to do is we're going to step away for a 2-minute break. We're going to head back to that briefing. And coming up in just about 12 minutes or so, we're going to be speaking with the public information officer with Pinellas County. That is where St. Petersburg, Florida is located, talking specifically about how the evacuation process is going. We were hearing from the mayor that some of these construction cranes are also of concern, especially as Hurricane Milton is expected to make landfall as a Category 3 hurricane. So checking in on a number of those concerns with the very latest information. That conversation coming up at around 12:25 p.m. Eastern time. And we're also anticipating an update from Tampa city officials coming up at around 12:30 p.m. So all of that ahead. We are going to step away for a 2-minute break, but much more to come. Stay with us. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. We continue to track Hurricane Milton as it makes its way to the west coast of Florida. This is a live look right here at our XRAD system, and you can see that it is slowly coming closer to that west coast area. We are going to be checking back in with St. Petersburg, but we did also want to let you know that we are monitoring a number of other events happening around the country and around the world. I wanted to share this live look with you. This is a live look as we are expecting the United Nations Secretary General to brief reporters on the Middle East conflict from the Security Council. So we're going to be monitoring this live look for you and pass along any pertinent information. We're also monitoring this. We are expecting the State Department briefing to get underway in just about an hour or so, and you can see the podium right there. But first, we do continue to follow the very latest with Hurricane Milton. This is a live look from the Bahamas as they are also feeling the effects of Hurricane Milton. You can see a live look right here from Nassau, Bahamas, as the palm trees continue to sway in the wind and the waves right there are slowly picking up speed as they make their way to the shore. All right, we are going to head back to St. Petersburg as they do have their update, and we are hearing from a number of city officials talking about concerns with construction cranes, especially since the wind is going to be very strong as Milton is expected to make landfall as a Category 3 hurricane. So minimum sustained winds of 111 miles an hour. Talking about another number of other issues, including power, including sewage. So we're going to head back to that. Let's listen in.
Do we have anybody that can speak to the Trop, Rob? And as he comes up, I just want to speak to a couple of questions. This is a worst case scenario that we've talked about for a long time. This is the Hurricane Phoenix scenario that we've talked about. And so we have been telling folks for years, have your storm kit, have food and water for a week. And so that is the reality that we're facing right now. And after this is over, it's going to change the way we plan. It's going to change the way we look at infrastructure. So things like the crane that we hadn't anticipated before, had to deal with before because of the strength of this storm. We're going to be looking at everything we've done after action, and it'll be a new day in terms of planning and infrastructure in response to the new reality of sea level rise and climate change. Rob.
Thank you, Mayor. So first of all, I just want to thank all our partners. There's been amazing partnerships in this whole process, our federal partners, our county partners, and our state partners. And regarding Tropicana Field and the activities that are happening there, the Rays as our partners have been amazing in this as well. So we all know, and I loved what you said, it's a double whammy. with a triple threat coming, right? And so we've got all this debris out there, and so there's been a rush to try and pick up as much debris as possible. So the activities are there, coordinated through the state to try and help pick up as much debris as possible before Milton hits. And then we've coordinated and done our own activities to try and get as much debris picked up. We've been very happy to have our contractor, Crowder Golf, in the city. They've been doing a great job. We opened up our own DMS at amazing speed thanks to our partnerships with the state and their help at the Raytheon site, so we can have individual private haulers and individual citizens come to the Raytheon site. And now we've also added a new program for private individuals who can haul truckloads to the Raytheon site to help us remove debris. So it's all part of a partnership, but the operation at Tropicana Field is related to removing debris as fast as possible before Milton comes.
Can you give us a ballpark? And I know it's probably a long shot, but you know, has 30%, 50% of Helene's debris been picked up?
I can't give you a number, Mark. I'm sorry. I mean, it's been all hands on deck, pick up every piece of debris that we can before the storm, and we just haven't had an opportunity to calculate that on a tonnage basis. So
It was said yesterday that, you know, where the debris is being picked up hasn't been tracked yet, or how much hasn't been tracked yet. The contractors are from like Alabama and out of state. How do they know where to go then?
well, I mean, it's been coordinated through us and through the state. I mean, look, we're in the eye of the storm, and we're at risk here in St. Petersburg, but we also have to be concerned about our neighboring cities and our partners out on the beaches, and they've been damaged tremendously by Helene, and Milton is now barreling down on them. So a lot of focus from the state contractors has been on the beaches trying to get rid of that debris, while we use our contractor and our programs to focus more on St. Petersburg.
Mayor, you mentioned Hurricane Phoenix and that simulation. I believe that was like 4 years ago. Between the sewer situation and the cranes, I mean, this had to be anticipated that we would get the big one coming. Why isn't the city prepared for something like that?
Well, the city's very prepared, and the Hurricane Phoenix I was referring to was a planning exercise with the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, and it's probably a decade ago, talking about what would happen if we got a direct hit. And so my point is, we have been planning, we've been investing in infrastructure at the Northeast wastewater plant, for example. There's a project under construction right now, a $70 million project in response to that would raise that plant to withstand 11 feet of storm surge. And that is progress. But now we're seeing that the storms are even more powerful than that. This is 15 feet. And so when I say we need to reset the way we're looking at infrastructure based on this new reality, and the fact that climate change is happening quicker than we anticipated. You know, there was a range of, 2 to 7 feet increase by 2100. We've really got to reset that because those effects are happening right now. But the city is very well prepared. We've done an excellent job from debris pickup to handing out, how many sandbags, Claude? 146. Over 146,000 sandbags. Getting the word out to folks, working with the county, working with the federal government, the state. We've done everything possible to make sure folks are safe. We don't have to lose one life with this storm coming as powerful as it is, if folks would just evacuate. And then we're going to rebuild. It's going to be long, it's going to be tough, but I think we're in a great position. We listen to the science, we're prepared to act on that science, but our investments have to be more aggressive. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all stay safe.
Thank you.
So that was the mayor of St. Petersburg and some other officials as well, as they were talking about the storm preps ahead of Hurricane Milton making landfall. Coming up in just a number of minutes, we are going to be joined by the public information officer with Pinellas County, as St. Petersburg is located in Pinellas County, talking about especially the evacuations that are currently underway. Many people in those mandatory evacuation areas. And we were hearing from officials as they were saying that they really are going to be very strict about these mandatory evacuations. Many people within the mandatory evacuations for Hurricane Helene decided to ride the storm out. They're saying that Hurricane Milton could be the most destructive hurricane ever to hit the area, and they want to make sure that everyone stays safe, which is why they really are going to be putting those into place. So we are going to take a 2-minute break here as we do anticipate the public information
Alexa, how many fatalities with Hurricane Milton?
From fandom.com. Overall, extreme Hurricane Milton caused $21.3 billion in damages and caused 262 fatalities.
What the fuck?
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. We are continuing to cover Hurricane Milton, sharing this live look with you as any moment now we are expecting to hear from the city of Tampa and the officials there as Tampa and really the west coast of Florida anticipating on receiving the brunt of Hurricane Milton as it makes landfall as a likely Category 3 hurricane early Thursday morning. So we're going to continue to monitor this and, of course, bring you that briefing as it does happen.
Apparently, sound is unavailable. I don't know why. But, okay. And there goes Facebook. Where? Give me one moment. I was. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. I took a quick shower.
An idea as to how seriously folks there along the west coast of Florida are taking it. And it's not just the west coast that are taking it seriously, because as we have been sharing, Central Florida also will be receiving Hurricane Milton as a hurricane. Now, it might be downgraded from a Category 3, but it will still likely remain a hurricane as it makes its way across the peninsula of Florida. So that is a live look there at our XRAD system. And if you're just joining us at this hour, I did want to give you the very latest information as forecasters say Hurricane Milton has the potential to become one of the most destructive hurricanes on record for West Central Florida. Millions of residents are continuing to prepare for life-threatening impacts. They are evacuating the coast ahead of Milton's arrival early Thursday morning. And this is a live look once again at I-75 northbound. So folks making their way from the west coast of Florida to safer ground right here. And Category 4 right now, I should say. But yesterday, Hurricane Milton was a Category 5. So still catastrophic as a Category 4. And it will likely continue to weaken to a Category 3. But still, some of the biggest areas of concern include a deadly storm surge, destructive hurricane force winds, and flooding rain. Now, over the weekend, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for 51 of the state's 67 counties. And on Monday, President Biden approved the state's pre-landfall emergency declaration request, which authorizes the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency to coordinate all disaster relief efforts and to provide appropriate assistance for required emergency measures. So what we're going to do now is, as we do anticipate speaking with the Pinellas County Public Information Officer, Dave Connor, we're going to step away for another 2-minute break. We're going to get his live shot situated as we continue this conversation. Stay with us.
Holy Jesus. How many breaks do these guys need? My God dang. But yeah, sorry. The audio in that wasn't working, and yeah. But oh my Lord. All right, where the fuck is my lighter? I don't even think it's us playing with the weather. Oh, are we back from that break? I'm just gonna leave it turned down for a minute. I gotta check other things. Yeah, money makes the world go round.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinn. We're continuing to dip into our Orlando and Tampa team coverage. And so for that, I did want to head to our Fox 13 Tampa coverage as they continue to monitor and track Hurricane Milton. We're going to head to that right now so we can listen in.
But I want to add, though, that there are special needs shelters in this area in Manatee County as well as in Sarasota County. You do have to pre-register. I want to let you hear a little bit of what we heard a short time ago from a man named Gordy Rohrer, a longtime Bradenton resident, about how seriously he and his neighbors are taking this hurricane.
I think the storm we just had, is scaring everybody, and stuff. People are getting prepared a lot more, putting shutters up and all that stuff. So in our neighborhood, they're serious about the storm.
So we used the Gas Buddy app. We tried a Shell station before we got to this location. It's a Walmart. We tried a Marathon station as well. So third time was the charm for us. Maybe a different story in your area, but there is a sense of urgency. Folks wanting to make sure that they are filled up as much as possible, whether they are evacuating or whether they are just going back to their house to kind of shelter in place. Folks understand here that it could be days, if not longer, before they have another chance to get gasoline again. In Bradenton, Matthew McClellan, Fox 13 News.
Thank you, Matthew. This is new video into our newsroom out of Port Tampa Bay. We spotted a line of gas trucks waiting to load up so they can ship out to gas stations and help them restock. We counted more than a dozen trucks. The governor reassured Floridians this morning, saying there's no fuel shortage, although some stations have begun to run out. The governor says the Florida Highway Patrol has also been called on to escort fuel trucks to at-risk areas. There are a lot of things to take care of before you evacuate or shelter in place, from power to water and community, and it's important to do everything that you can to prepare. So make sure that you charge any device that provides light. Turn off your breaker box if you're in an evacuation zone or your home floods. Fill empty bottles with water and freeze them. Fill every tub with water so you can flush your toilet. And remember, only flush when you really need to. And also check in on your neighbors. And here's some things you do not want to do. FEMA officials say filling your washing machine with ice to cool your perishables during an outage could ruin it. Sinking lawn furniture into your pool could damage it. Putting tape on your windows actually doesn't help, and only impact-resistant coverings are the best way to go. You also only need to protect windows facing the water. Do not use candles or lanterns that use gas or oil, and officials say those are fire hazards that could make a bad situation worse.
All right, so we do want to thank our Fox 13 Tampa team, but as we continue our coverage, I do want to bring in Dave Connor, who is the Public Information Officer with Pinellas County. Dave, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Of course.
So we have been taking a look at some of these traffic cameras as millions of people are evacuating the west coast of Tampa. And I wanted to ask you how those evacuations are going. Many under mandatory, many under voluntary. How is that process?
Yeah, well, as hopefully many in Pinellas County know, we've ordered a mandatory evacuations for zones A, B, C, and all mobile homes. From what we've seen so far, it's going pretty well. A lot of people are taking this threat seriously. We've been visiting a lot of the areas impacted recently by Hurricane Helene, and many residents in those areas are leaving. What we're really focused on trying to get the point across today is to those folks in those zones A who may not have had damages from Helene, or in B or C, because all suggestions indicate that this upcoming storm is going to be a lot worse, both with more storm surge and with a lot stronger winds that are going to start impacting us tomorrow morning.
And I know that the concern is that if people don't heed those evacuation warnings, that officials cannot guarantee their safety, as of course emergency responders also have to make sure that they themselves are safe.
Absolutely. You know, we are going to try our absolute best. During Hurricane Helene, we had 500 water rescues. So our crews and other responders went out 500 times to rescue people's lives. In addition to that, we had 12 deaths just in our county alone. There were several more across the Tampa Bay area. There will come a point in every storm, and especially this storm, where you will call 911. They'll answer as best they can. We will not be able to get you right away. We will follow up as soon as conditions are safe to do so. But it's really important for folks to get out now if they need to, and not get stuck in that position.
And we were listening just moments ago to St. Petersburg officials as they were saying some people who are on the second story who may have survived Hurricane Helene think that they can do so. But even if you're on the second story of a building, that storm surge could be 15 feet high. That's enough to get into the second story.
That is true. And another thing for folks to consider if they live in apartment buildings even is we are expecting long and widespread power outages, sewage outages. We're not currently planning to turn off the drinking water to parts of the county, but there could be system impacts too. So, you know, if you live on the 5th, 6th, 7th floor of a building, you may be out of that storm surge way, but it may not be a place that is comfortable or safe to live in for days following the storm.
And you bring up such an important point, because even if people think they can ride out the storm, those conditions aren't going to go back to normal for days when you're talking about drinking water, when you're talking about the ability to flush your toilet or take a shower, when you're talking about power outages. It's better to get out now so you don't have to deal with all of that. You know, I did want to ask you, just in terms of the timeline, Pinellas County still recovering from Hurricane Helene. When it comes to the timeline that you anticipate with Hurricane Milton, what does that look like for recovery? Because I know that efforts are underway to just remove all of the debris that's still been left over by Helene.
Yeah, and there's a lot of information out there. It can feel very overwhelming. So everything we're talking about today and all the future recovery efforts to come, people can follow at disaster.pinellas.gov. It's updated almost hourly as we get new information about this storm. But to your question, you know, we are part of a very broad team effort right now to try to get as much debris off the streets, off the barrier islands, off our impacted communities as possible prior to this storm coming in. To be frank, I don't think we will get all of it before the storm comes in, but we are doing our best. And when the impacts of the storm stop and leave this area, probably sometime on Thursday, you know, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our public works teams out to make sure the roads are clear and safe, you know, rehang any traffic lights that have fallen down, clear trees. And then we're going to start going back into a fresh damage assessment to see what infrastructure needs to be restored and how we can clean up.
And also for folks out there who may not have perhaps a place to go, can you talk about the emergency shelters that the county has in place and has already opened?
Yeah, you know, we've opened 6 shelters across the county. And again, the full list is at disaster.pinellas.gov. Those shelters will provide you, a safe structure. They have restroom facilities. They'll have food if you need it. They're not going to be the most comfortable place, but they are absolutely better than remaining in a structure in an evacuation zone or in a mobile home. Also, options to consider, if you have family or friends, whether they're outside of an evacuation zone or out of the county somewhere else, those are good options as well. I personally, I'm here at the Emergency Operations Center in Largo, but my wife and children and our pets did head north a little bit up towards the Panhandle to stay with some friends up there.
And what is Pinellas County anticipating? I know that officials always prepare for the worst case scenario, hoping for the best. But at this point in time, when we are hearing about storm surge and flooding and power outages, what are you anticipating on the county level?
Well, just like everybody else, we're looking to the National Hurricane Center for their forecast of the storm surge and the wind impacts. I can tell you that here at the Emergency Operations Center, we have dozens of partners from every agency that would be working with us, ranging from the Florida National Guard to the State Department of Emergency Management. We've got Duke Energy in here, our own utilities folks providing potable water to the county in here. And we're expecting some long power and infrastructure impacts, but we're prepared. We're here to respond as we can.
Dave, before we let you go, is there anything else that you would want to pass along to our viewers?
As I mentioned, disaster.pinellas.gov is the best resource. If you don't have access to a phone, or if you have questions that you can't find on there, our County Information Center is currently open 24 hours a day, and that's 727-464-4333. And of course, in an emergency, 911 is always available as well.
All right, Dave, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox. Stay safe.
Thank you.
And once again, I wanted to share this live look of I-75 northbound. As you can see, traffic at a standstill. This is a live look that we have been seeing for hours, for 24 hours, I would say, as folks are paying heed. They are taking these mandatory and voluntary evacuations very seriously, as they should. We were hearing from Dave Connor, the Pinellas County Public Information Officer, saying that the county themselves are taking this very seriously. We are going to step away for a 2-minute break here on Live Now from Fox. After that, we're going to head live to Tampa as city officials have begun their Hurricane Milton briefing. All of that latest information coming up after the break. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. I do want to head to a briefing happening right now in Tampa, Florida, as city officials there are continuing to make preparations ahead of Hurricane Milton making landfall early Thursday morning. So I'm going to head to that, raise the audio, and listen in.
All right. Okay. Hello, everybody. It's Mayor Jane, and we are having our press conference with the latest on Hurricane Milton. As we have said and you have seen continually through the weather advisories and alerts, that we are going to be significantly impacted by Hurricane Milton. Hurricane Helene was a water event, and that was devastating for portions of our community, especially those along our waterways, which are 126 miles worth of waterfront property in our community. Milton has a possibility of bringing close to twice the amount in storm surge, hurricane force category 3 or 4 winds, and a great deal of rain on our already saturated community. So we can't ask you in any other way to please be prepared. If you are in evacuation zone A or B, you should have already left. So if you're hearing this right now, prepare to evacuate. You don't have to go out of state. You just have to get out of the way of that water. Run from the water, hide from the wind. Everybody in our Tampa Bay area has that phrase memorized by now. We could not underscore the importance of this anymore. So a couple of things that I want to go over since our last press conference. Gas. We're starting to see some less than cordial Tampa Bay behavior at some of our gas stations. So please, 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 everybody, patience. We're all in this together. I have talked to Paul Anderson, the CEO at Port Tampa Bay. I am on that board, and the tanks in the port are full. And so it's just an issue right now of people going and filling up all at once. So it's a demand, it's not a supply. The tankers are coming out of the port to replenish those filling stations as quick as they can. My filling stations in neighborhood or in Seminole Heights were out yesterday, and several of them are pumping gas today. So again, patience on that front. We have the gas situation covered in our city. I also want to talk a bit about rumor control. There are rumors that we don't have enough resources. That could not be further from the truth. The federal government, the state government, the county, the city, private entities are working hand in hand. First and foremost, to get that household debris up and out of the way. And secondly, to make sure that everyone is safe as we endure whatever Milton brings our way. Tampa General Hospital has the Aquafence. That has a capacity of handling 15 feet of storm surge. It saved the hospital during Helene, and we're hoping that it does the same through Milton, because as everyone knows, that is our Trauma 1 location. And also, again, to the resources, the collaboration, the cooperation. I have talked to the president. I have the administrator of FEMA was here yesterday. She rode around with us, asked what we needed, went over to the barrier islands in Pinellas County and did the same there. The state, I've talked to the governor, been in constant contact with our emergency manager. They are working to get us all the resources we need. So please don't get political on this. This storm is going to affect everybody, and we are getting the help that we need from all of the different governmental officials. So thank you again for everyone's patience. On the rumor control, we are not proactively shutting off water anywhere. Tico, who is going to speak, is not shutting off electricity either. There's the possibility that the storm surge or the wind will knock down trees, power lines, everything else that will affect different services, but we will be sure to keep you informed in a timely manner. And to that end, if you haven't already, please text Tampa Ready to 888-777. You'll get real-time updates with factual information. Hate to break it to you, but a lot of what you see on social media is not factual. Stick with the facts. For those alerts in Spanish, text 888-777 to Tampa Lista to 888-777. So now this will be a first in a press conference dealing with a hurricane, but the next speaker up and the most important person of the hour and an individual who has been doing an amazing job is the director of our solid waste, Larry Washington.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor. I truly appreciate the kind words. First and foremost, thank you, City of Tampa, for your patience. There's a lot of debris out there, whether it's household debris or it's vegetative debris. There's a lot of debris there, and it's been a full court press on debris cleanup. And that's not just the solid waste department, that's citywide. We have contractors in place right now, and we're still currently collecting debris. Our primary focus is the household debris. So if you have vegetative debris, please try to store it in some type of garage, bring it into some type of shelter so then we can try to weather out Hurricane Milton. Since September 29th, we have been actively collecting debris. Now, currently we have collected 26,000 cubic yards of debris, and we store these at our debris management sites. We have one in South Tampa, and we have one over next to the port as well. So, for those of you that have the ability to bring your debris to the transfer station, please do so. I was there this morning, and we only had a line of 4 or 5 people. So with all those households with debris curbside, if you have the ability, bring it on to us. But if you don't, then we're still trying to collect your debris. So roughly, as of now, we received roughly 500 ready individuals bringing their waste to our transfer stations. So that's 500 people that have been proactive with bringing their waste over. Now that equates to roughly 400,000 pounds of debris from our residents alone. So great job there. In addition, if you are trying to utilize our transfer station, we've heard your concerns about the process. So if you have an ID, a City of Tampa ID, and you receive some type of solid waste service, please come to the front, to our scale house, and we will process you. We are no longer requiring any water bill or a bill of that nature. In addition, so we are still actively collecting garbage and recycling. Yesterday we ran routes, and today we will run routes until we are complete. After that, we go into emergency response mode. Now, please stay patient with us while we continue to collect. We're going to end collection for debris at 7 a.m. So that's 7 a.m. Wednesday morning. We don't want to sacrifice service over safety, so we have to end it there. But thank you again, Mayor. We're trying to actively collect all the debris that's curbside, but if we do not get to you, we will definitely respond after Hurricane Milton. So thank you again.
Thank you, Larry. And as he said, all hands on deck. It
God
wasn't
damn.
just the solid waste. We have parks and recreation, we have mobility, we have water, wastewater, a lot of private entities that we did emergency contracts with. So, doing everything that we can. I believe it takes 3 weeks to a month to clean up after one of these storms, such as Helene, and they've done the vast majority of it in a week. And so they've really done a great job. Next, we have our fire chief, Barbara Tripp.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, we just want to thank the community. Thank you for listening to the local officials when it comes to evacuation. Want to thank everyone who has take heed to this evacuation policy. We want everyone to be safe out there and want to continue to follow the news and get continued updates through our social media as well as the different information that's been given to you all. We cannot stress enough when the situations get to a point that we will not be able to respond. The first responders are here for you, but we need you to help us. Please do not stay in those disaster areas because it will be very difficult for us to respond once the winds get a certain speed. With that being said, the mayor talked about as far as receiving a lot of resources throughout from the state and local. I can attest to that. We have received multiple strike teams here to assist Tampa Fire Rescue. We are in communication with the National Guards as well. So we are definitely prepared for whatever Milton is going to bring us, but we want everyone to be safe with that. As we continue to collaborate with all of the local and stakeholders, as she spoke of with Tampa General, we are here to assist, but we need you guys to take heed. The city of Tampa has also opened up the downtown garages to take your vehicles. We continue to talk about electrical vehicles, and as far as hoverboards, scooters, all of that lithium-ion batteries, you need to make sure that it does not mix with water. We ask you to take heed to all of the services, take your vehicles to higher grounds so they will be taken care of. With that being said, we know with this storm, it's going to produce a lot of wind, rain, which cause power lines to go down. Please take precautions when you're approaching any line. Assume that that power line is live. Call 911 so we'll be able to assist. With that being said, the power lines itself will cause some serious danger if you touch it, including up to death. We definitely don't want you all to take heed to those power lines. Power for some residents will be out. No, TECO is here to talk about it, and they will give additional information. But some of you all have generators in which you would put generators into service. We continue to tell you to make sure those generators are operated in a well-ventilated area, not inside your home or garage. Make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions when it comes to that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, text to 888-777, Tampa Ready, all one word, 888-777 to test the word Tampa Ready. And for Spanish, Tampa Lista, 888-777. Thank you, and we want everyone to be safe. Now turn it over to Chief Burkle.
The common theme here is heeding our warning for evacuation and having patience. We have an all-hands-on-deck approach. I have every single one of our 1,000 officers out here today. Many of them are assisting with evacuation. I went out to several houses myself this morning, and one in South Tampa. We encountered an elderly female who did not want to evacuate. Hopefully she will evacuate. We've worked something out with her son, but my concern is that there's many more like her out there that aren't heeding our warning. The message that I'm providing them and to all of you all is I cannot send my officers out in the peak of this storm. We will not be able to respond. Our officers need to be safe and sound and ready for our recovery efforts. I want to reassure you all, but I can't reassure you during those peak periods if you're not evacuating. If you're under a mandatory evacuation order, it's mandatory for a reason. please do that. And when you're at the gas stations, have patience. We don't need to unnecessarily tie up our police officers for a minor disturbance at a gas station. Our officers are going door to door in low-lying areas and assisting. We've never seen anything like this before. This is the storm of the century, and we just need everybody to have patience, to stay safe, and to follow our direction. And for now, I have our Council Chair, Guido Maniscalco.
Thank you very much. So I've been here my whole life, 40 years, and I've never seen a storm like this. This is a potentially life and death situation. This is a potentially historically catastrophic storm. This is the storm of the century. We haven't had this potential impact in over 100 years. We have to be ready. It's all hands on deck. The mayor's here, all city departments are here. We're working around the clock to make sure that people are safe. We're waiting until the storm passes for that response, that recovery, and restoration. We will lose power. I lose power every time. Many of my neighbors do. Be prepared. There's still time. If you're able to get gas, I know the gas stations are running out and they're refilling. Try to get gas. Try to have non-perishable food items, have enough water, and be prepared, because this could be that storm that we've been waiting for. And what we saw a few weeks ago was basically a sample of what could happen. The wind is one thing, but we also have the storm surge potential that can be devastating. It has been devastating. And so please take this seriously. If you are asked to evacuate and you're in an evacuation zone, please go somewhere where it's safer. The storm will pass. We want to make sure that you stay safe. All residents of Tampa, we are in this together. We are in this to get through this, recover, and make sure that we come out of this stronger and safer. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to welcome Hillsborough County Commissioner Harry Cohen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Just to bring you some brief information from Hillsborough County. To reiterate, this storm is forecast to bring significant threats, including storm surge, heavy wind, and severe flooding. Hillsborough County remains under a state of local emergency with a mandatory evacuation for both Zone A and Zone B, including all mobile homes and manufactured homes across the county. The key word here is mandatory evacuation. Councilman Maniscalco referred to Hurricane Helene. We have seen what can happen when there is a storm surge and people have not evacuated, and this could be twice, 3 times what that was. Please urge our warnings and evacuate now. Go to higher ground and ride out the storm with friends or relatives, whether it be outside of the evacuation area or in the immediate vicinity. You should be to where you are going by 7 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, October 9th. You should know your evacuation zone. If you do not know it, go to hcfl.gov Stay Safe to find it. You can also find comprehensive information about storm preparation and recovery there. Residents in an evacuation zone who require transportation should call the HC Storm Information and Helpline at 833-HC-STORM or 833-427-8676. For those that do not have a safe location, Hillsborough County continues to operate 9 emergency shelters, 6 of which are general population and 3 for special needs. They are available and they are open and they are accepting people if you have nowhere else to go. They are Burnett Middle School in Seffner, Durant High School in Plant City, Middleton High School in Tampa, Shields Middle School in Ruskin, and Sickles High School in Tampa. There is a general population no pet shelter available at Pizzo Elementary School in Tampa, and 3 special needs only pet-friendly shelters at Irwin Technical College, Sumner High School, and Strawberry Crest High School. Hillsborough County Solid Waste continues to collect debris from Hurricane Helene ahead of Milton. The county has mobilized all available resources to expedite storm debris removal from affected residential neighborhoods. To further that effort, the county has launched a 24-hour temporary debris drop-off site at its resource recovery facility at 350 North Falkenberg Road, where anybody can drop off many types of debris. For more information, please go to hcfl.gov/solid waste. The county's 5 community collection centers are open with extended hours to accommodate storm cleanup from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. today. They're only open today. They will close at 7 p.m. So again, go to hcfl.gov/solid waste to find out about those sites. I also want to remind everyone, don't drive through stormwater. Make sure to secure electric vehicles. We've seen in the past that those are a huge source of fires, and stay safe and heed the warnings. We can all get through this together, but we've got to listen to each other, take care of each other, and make sure to get to higher ground. So thank you very much, Mayor.
We continue to listen in as Tampa City officials are giving their briefing ahead of Hurricane Milton making landfall. I also want to let you know that coming up in just about 10 minutes or so, we are going to be speaking with the National Hurricane Center Deputy Director Jamie Rome, talking about the very latest timeline and track of Hurricane Milton, as it is expected to make landfall as possibly a Category 3 hurricane early Thursday morning. So we're going to have a live conversation with him coming up in just about 10 minutes or so. We're going to step away for a 2-minute break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. We are continuing.
Sorry, guys. I got little ones coming home soon. I have to shut this down. Thank you all for being here. I will keep everyone updated. And MB, tag, you're it. Have a nice day.